they had to do some reruns. And they felt very miffed about that they had to do some reruns because I didn't have one every day. And that kind of intimidates me a little, thinking that these videos are just going to get played and replayed, and one day in my older age, I will be embarrassed by some of the mistakes. But I don't edit these videos because if I were sitting across the table for you, or we were having a class in my home, or we were talking over the fence, I wouldn't be able to edit anything. And you would have to just overlook some of the inaccuracies I made and maybe some of the mistakes, or I could just correct myself, but it wouldn't be recorded. So I don't want to spend any time on editing. It's just more time for me. I'm trying to talk a shorter amount of time so that you can listen to all of it. I know some people don't have an hour's time, but it's not turning out to be that way. I'm Mrs. Sherman, and I have a blog on home living, and I'd like you to go over there and leave a comment. I don't have comments on the videos because I just really don't want to be part of a YouTube community, and I don't want too much social media going on, and over at the blog you can see other things besides just videos. So I have been a preacher's wife in the Church of Christ for 48 years, and I've been in the church all my life, literally, and I have taught a lot of ladies classes and got real interested in Titus 2 when I began to homeschool, about the idea of women being home and what the Bible has to say about that, and what all the opportunities are at home, and how to make it a perfect way of life for you and for me, and not something that you would do grudgingly, but to give it life and give it a little spark, and not present it in such a way that it would discourage people. So this is one of my purposes, is to make it interesting and show what all the possibilities are being a homemaker. And I also have a PayPal on the side. If you want to send a few dollars, that's fine. A lot of people ask about that, and rather than having to answer all the emails, yes, you can do that if you want to, but don't do it if you need to look after your family and you have other obligations. I use it for my sewing and for my tea and for my teacups, so I'm trying to be accountable with it. And also, I want to show you my teacup today. Now, this video is for you to work by. You can listen while you work. There are a lot of lovely videos. I just saw one the other day, and I will put a link on it, that I had to sit and watch because it was so lovely. And she was pouring herself a cup of tea. She was in a pretty dress, and she was saying really encouraging, sweet, soothing things. And I thought, that's a wonderful video. She had a lovely background too. She doesn't have to find the bare corner like I do. I have so many spots in my house that need to be improved, and it's rare for me to find a studio type area. And I will give you the link to that vlog that I watched today, and see if you'd like to watch it too. But this video is like a radio where you can listen and carry it around while you clean a room, while you fold some clothes, while you load your dishwasher, unload your dishwasher, and even sweep your floor, or other things. If you look in the comments of previous videos, of previous entries, go to my blog and look at the previous posts and see the comments, and these girls give you a list of what they did while they were listening to this video, and they will list some things maybe that were a little more tedious, that are hard to get into. But when you listen to someone, if there's someone there talking to you, and also it makes it easier, and the time seems to go faster, and also not so tedious. But we all like to have company, but company, when you're trying to get something done, does not always work out. And I believe that homemaking is very, very isolating. If you're to do a good job, you really need peace and quiet. You need to be isolated. Even when you have your children there, all of you need to be of one mind. And you can't do that if you've got company, if you've got people that you feel you need to be around so that you can do your work and you have some company. Whereas listening to something, I'm not going to bother you. I'm just going to talk, and you can also turn it off. So today, I want you to get your work done, and so before you go, I'm going to show you the teacup. And on the outside, this cup is absolute beautiful white. Isn't that beautiful? And this is the saucer. See, it matches. And on the inside, beautiful rose on the inside, beautiful rose print. And I always felt that having something on the inside of the cup was highly amusing because the Victorians had pictures on their plates and things to look at, and that was their media in a way. They could look up on a ceiling and see a painting or a design on the crown molding, and everything was ornate. So I am using this cup and I absolutely love it, and it's from TJ Maxx Home Goods. You might be able to also find it at Marshall's. I just want to get you a better look at the inside there. The bottom is real pretty, where it's Gracie bone china. But look at that pretty rose on the bottom. And what I like about this cup, if you could go to TJ Maxx or Home Goods and get yourself one, this is an everyday cup. There's no gold on it. You can put it in the dishwasher, and it has a little kind of a set-in bowl type shape where this cup sits down inside. Rather than perched precariously like so many of the antique cups and even some of the modern ones, it sits down in here, and it is braced by the edges of that little bowl in there, and it's non-tippable. So many teacups I've had, even the new ones, are gorgeous and they're very durable, dishwasher safe, but they'll tip. They'll if you slightly nudge them, they're overboard. So this, I love this. This is just, and I'll put a picture on it if I can. It's hard to show you this little indentation in it where this sits, but it won't move off of it. Whereas others that I've shown you, you couldn't do this because that braces that. So isn't that a nice cup? I just love it. So now that I've shown you my teacup, you may go and do what you need to do. And the first thing I begin with, and I don't always follow this myself, excuse me, I'm going to have a sip of tea so that I don't get too dry and I can talk to you longer. And we start with appearance. And I'm not saying that I always follow this. Sometimes when I get up in the morning, I head to the bathroom, but then I see something that urgently needs to be picked up or put away or fixed, and I can't discipline myself to get dressed first. So there I am putting something away, and then something else happens. I have to go do that. So I'm still in my robe, and I try not to do that, but it so happens sometimes, and I can't make any strict rules for myself, but I want to try to do that. And so appearance. Why should we bother? Why should we bother? We're home, and it's possible we won't see anybody. Have you ever been left alone for a long time and you didn't see anybody and nobody saw you, and you thought, well, why should I bother? Well, if you're really young, it really doesn't matter because you look good all the time. But if you're getting on in years, I think you need to start taking care of yourself because you need the practice, and you'll know how to do it, and it won't be awkward to do your hair, to take care of yourself, to dress, if you will get into practice now. And then when you're older, you'll be at ease with taking care of your appearance. And also, you need to be a good example to the younger women, and give homemaking a good reputation by dressing up for it. Now, today I am wearing a Faded Glory little cardigan that has a ribbing that goes all the way around the back and back up the front. It's like a little bolero, and it's got cotton in it, and I really like it, and it's from years ago at Walmart, and I believe that they had gone on sale for about $5 at one time, even though they usually start around $15, and then they have a big sale before so they can get ready for the next season. So that's when I get a lot of my things, and I know some of you have bought some of these, and I don't know if they're still available, but I've had mine for quite a while, and I'm wearing a Faded Glory Time and True cotton t-shirt, long sleeve, to go with it because it's we're going through our winter months. It's a little bit chilly here, and this is real comfortable, and I like it that it matched my cup today. So you want to wear something that has some dignity to it. Don't just throw on any old thing. And I noticed a lot of people just want to wear black all the time. Guess it's so easy to do that, to get in that habit. And I do have a black corduroy skirt that I wear all winter, and I'm so sick of it by spring. Each year I say I'm going to burn this, but because I don't want to be stuck wearing black all the time. But it's just the ultimate color for the rain and wind and sleet and dirt that goes on around us outside, and usually very heavy fabric. I'm wearing a corduroy one. And so appearance, why do we bother? Why do we bother? Because it's orderly and it can bring peace to your mind. It can stop your racing heart and your short breath, and it can make you feel a little more stable. And sometimes, I'm not saying that homemakers are unstable, but sometimes because we have this freedom that it's hard to discipline ourselves and get started. We have all this freedom. No one's regulating us. And there's a big issue over there. A lot of people think you should be regulated, that they want you to be regulated. But homemaking is not an exact science. You cannot always regulate it. There will be things that you've got to have the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding to take care of things in their urgency at the time that it's needed. You take care of the most important thing first at home. You can have a list, and I always recommend a list, but I don't put a time schedule on it because there will be things that will need to be done in between all the things on that list, and you have to start to develop a feeling for your home and your family as to what is the most necessary, and you anticipate, okay, when so-and-so wakes up from his nap, he's going to need something to eat, and he may need a change of clothes or something like that. You get all that stuff ready, and you start to regulate yourself according to the need, and everybody's need will be different. So you can hardly write a homemaking book on this because everybody's needs will vary according to the time of day, according to the kind of work that their family is involved in, according to your needs, your talents, things like that. So dressing up and putting on a good appearance for the home takes quite a while. I've noticed how long it takes, especially as you get older. I'm slower, and it just takes longer to get dressed, and that may require some time to yourself, and it's hard to get there sometimes, but it's an orderly thing, and it can bring peace of mind, and it gives peace to others who see you. It also shows respect to others, to yourself, and to the Lord. And the reason that I say this is that it has a polished, we talked about polished last time, and I didn't go into it too greatly. Just going to turn this off. Because I was cleaning some things out in my china cabinet, and one of the drawers had some old silver in it. It was a little silver platter about so big, and I think I used it to put crackers on at one time when I had a lot of teas here. And there was another one, and it had tarnished. And then after I had gotten rid of it and sent it all to Goodwill, I recalled that I had used those two little tin silver platters as an example in an etiquette class I did for young girls in the church. And I had passed around the shiny, refined, polished piece that was polished and beautiful, and showed them what it looked like. You could see your reflection in it. It was so nice, and it was so silvery and beautiful. And then I passed around the one that I had deliberately allowed to become tarnished. That meant it was all black and spotty and everything. And I gave them a cloth, and I said, you shine a little bit with this, rub this cloth on it, and shine it a little bit, and pass it around. And by the time it got back around from the end of the line and back to me, it was pretty well polished. And I said, that's what polished is, because the little platter was clean. There was nothing wrong with it. It was clean, it was strong, it was sturdy, it was useful. You could still use it, you could serve on it and everything, but it wasn't polished. That meant that it wasn't as attractive as it could be. And to take away the tarnish off of it, you had to do a little bit of work. You had to rub it with this cloth, this special cloth. And so it was a study we did on refinement, on how to refine something. And I had used these two little platters, but I had gotten rid of them because well, there were no more classes going on, and the children had grown up, and I just had not kept that going. And then I was looking around for those the other day. Thought, oh yeah, I was cleaning during one of my purges, and I got rid of it. I do get rid of things, and so if I were to have a class like that again, I would probably take 2 of the little tea-sized teaspoons that are silver, and we could use those. But the little platter was so cute, and showed you how useful it was and how much more appealing it was when it was polished. So yesterday, if you want to go back to that video and listen a little bit about being polished, it just means, it doesn't mean you're good enough just being clean and throwing something on. It just means putting that little extra polish on it, you know, straightening the wrinkles out and covering things that blemishes and things like that, and fixing your hair and just feeling and putting on a clean apron. That's polish. It's like polishing your teeth, you know. It's just more appealing, and it's more thoughtful of other people if you'll take care of your teeth, and so that when you smile they're not grossed out. So that's polish. So I also wanted to mention here that it's very important to pray over what it is you want to accomplish in your home. What are the things that frustrate you the most? Can you list them, and can you pray over them? And one thing that I noticed about prayer is that even if your plans are not brought to fruition because of other interruptions and urgent things, you've got that on your mind, and you've shared that with God, that that's one of your desires. And I believe it's a psalm, I think, and it's trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lead not unto your own understanding, and He will give you the desires of your heart. And there's another one that says, and your plans will be established. And what are your desires? What are your desires for your home? Well, they're probably very wholesome desires. You want a clean house. You want a house that makes you smile when you walk in, and a table with a little centerpiece on it that makes you happy, that makes you smile. Maybe good smells and scents in the home. Maybe you want a home that feels homey, that feels comfortable for all of you. And I would tell you, if you are praying about it, it establishes it more in your mind, and it keeps that goal fresh and ahead of you, and reminds you every day to do it, so that even if your prayers aren't exactly answered or they're delayed, you still have that goal in you're putting the thoughts in your mind, you're putting that determination in your mind. So prayer is so important in so many ways. And so I wanted to say that for your home, we're going to go into homemaking now. So I've kind of discussed the section on appearance and getting ready, and prayer, and your list. And you know, I've got this came in the mail today, some kind of a ad for a magazine, and the other side was blank, so it was already folded in 3 pieces, so I put my notes on it, which I hope I can read. And I was thinking about homemaking, and how some people think, and I think as a young person I might have felt this way, and that was, if I had a nice house, I could really think positively and consider being a homemaker. But what really takes a lot of talent and strength and gumption is when you don't have something nice, to make it nice enough to enjoy being in it. And so that is, I've told you several stories of people who got stuck in a place that they never thought they would be at, thought they were just going to be temporary, and they fixed it up, and were actually admitted that that was some of the those were some of the happiest times they had in these fixer-uppers that they had, because they were stuck in a place. So I think I might have to turn a light on here. Where are my light is fading. I got started a little bit later today than I thought. So I don't want to fade away into the dark like I usually do. So Also, I wanted to say about the home is when you look your best. See, this is all integrated. Your appearance, your preparation, your homemaking, and the people part, it all works together. And so what you do first involves the people that you live with and the people that you love. And so you do it for them. You look good for them. How many of you have fixed yourself up and then one of your children said, "Oh, you look so nice." And what a joy that is. And how it gives them a lift too, gives them to look up to. How would you like it if you went to work in a really swanky place and the boss just looked terrible. Just looked like they had slept in their clothes and they hadn't brushed their teeth in a long time and stuff. It doesn't. The leader of the home, the mother, the wife and mother. You know, Titus 2 says the woman should guide and guard the home. They have to also be kind of a cheerleader. They have to create the atmosphere in the home. You know that saying, her presence lights the home. And even if you're not feeling well, and you got started and then halfway through the day you decided, man, I've got to lay down. And so you lay down on the couch in the living room and the children are around you, but at least you're there. Your presence is so important to them. It stabilizes them. And so it's really important to have a kind of a positive cheerleader attitude towards the home, because it's not fun to be around people who are supposed to be your mentor, your leader, your example, and they are careless with the way that they look, with the way that they conduct themselves, and with the way they speak, and with the way they care for the home. So that can't be inspiring, and you have to leave a legacy for your children if you have them. If not, there are friends, there are people around you that you can be a great influence on, and it is a ministry when you are at home and you're not just living for yourself, but if there's no one who cares about this sort of thing, and no one cares whether you are home or not, or whether you do a good job or not, at least do it for yourself, because in a way, you have two different roles. You're the lady of the house that needs the comfort and there were two words here. It was cleanliness and comfort. You need cleanliness and comfort. And so you're also the housekeeper. You're giving cleanliness and comfort. Aim for those two things. If you could just do two things today, one, cleanliness in one area, and I always emphasize the kitchen, because that can smell bad pretty fast if you don't get those dishes out of the way and get the sink cleaned out. At least if you can get the kitchen done, there's cleanliness there. And then there's the comfort of seeing that sparkling sink and that cleaned off cabinet top and a table with a little vase of flowers on it. And you know, my mother, she was a young wife on a homestead. She had 7 children, and she did the only barest essentials. And when you are up against time, or you haven't been feeling well, or you're just overwhelmed, do what the barest essentials are. So she concentrated on the cooking and the cleaning up. And of course, I was the oldest, so I did most of the dishes, most of the cleaning up. And so concentrate on those two things, cleanliness and comfort. Just do one cleanliness thing today and one thing that creates comfort. Now, comfort can be anything from making your house, making something look nice, like I said, the little centerpiece, or a soft, colorful blanket thrown across the end of a chair, or something like that, or anything, or just a fresh bar of soap in the bathroom. But cleanliness and comfort, sanitation comes first, and the children come first too, their needs. And keeping the children clean is really important, and making sure your house smell nice. And a lot of people neglect really, you know, letting their children have a bath or just getting them overall clean. Their hands get sticky and their faces get sticky, and just wiping at that is not going to do the job. If you want the children to smell nice and the house to smell nice, they will have to be bathed, and that will be part of their leisure time. And it makes them smell nice, and they'll have to have clean clothes, and they may have to change several times a day. This is one of the realities of being a mother is that children may have to go through several sets of clothes a day. You want to keep them clean, smelling nice, and keep your house smelling nice. Keep your laundry going too, because that's one of the cleanliness factors. So aim for cleanliness and comfort today. Just do one thing. If you can get the dishes done, that's a great accomplishment. One of the sad things is people will ask you, what did you do today? As though you were supposed to have written a novel or painted a wall or done something great beyond what you did. And if you just did the dishes, though, if you just told me, I did the dishes today, that's a great accomplishment, because that keeps you from getting behind tomorrow and the next day. And I have been in situations where there's been a lot of commotion in the home, or we have had a death in the family, and we had to prepare for different things, and we were cleaning out their house or something, and the dishes began, and this is before I had a dishwasher. They began to accumulate so badly, and in those days we didn't, go out and buy paper plates or go to restaurants, and things began to pile so deep I had to put some of the pots and pans on the floor while I washed the rest of the things. So if you can get your kitchen done today, that's an accomplishment. That is something, and that is greatness too. And a lot of women worry about spiritual aspect. They worry that because everything we do is just shifting things around, material things around, and we're washing clothes, and where everything is material, but you can keep it from being so mechanical and so dry. When you are praying as you go, when you're realizing that you're doing it for a purpose, for a great purpose, and that you are serving God and your children and your family and your husband, you're providing a comforting ministry to them by having these things clean, by sorting through things. Now, of course, all of us have the junk drawer and that room where things seem to be put, and we're always trying to get at it. I'm getting a little bit better. I'm doing a little bit better on that room, and where all the things are piled high. And I noticed that it's so overwhelming sometimes that I'm thinking, oh, I can't possibly do this. But if I do a few things in it a day, it just gets closer and closer to the wall, and then there'll be a last great spurt of energy, and it will be all done. But you can't let things sit too long, and if you have small children, they must come first. So it's inevitable that you will have some things that you won't get done, and you just have to appreciate that. Now, somebody asked me, I want to back up here because my notes are a little bit messed up here, and I didn't notice this. Somebody asked me about beauty tips, but honestly, I just don't have any ideas about that, except for, if you're happy and you dress up and you do something with your hair and your complexion, that's a beauty tip in itself. Do something. Don't just let yourself go. Try to do something, and then you learn as you go, and you pick up your own tips, because you put something on and you say, oh, that doesn't look good on me. That was a fail. And then eventually you get to the point where you know how to dress slim, like I taught you in the previous videos, or you know how to dress cheerfully, and you know how to fix your hair, because you look at the mirror and you'll say, that doesn't look nice on me. Oh, I don't like my hair today. Oh, I don't, that color on my sweater, and it's through trial and error that a lot of beauty tips occur, and everybody has their own beauty, and I believe that all women are beautiful, but they uglify themselves by following stupid trends that aren't good for them and make them look older or too old, or make them look tired, or you're trying to look trendy and it just doesn't look soft. And I think basically a big beauty concept would be try to look soft and try to look youthful. And I am not saying you don't act your age, but in youthfulness, I don't mean following the fads. You know what fad means? It's for a day, F-A-D. And you follow maybe what you would say traditional fashions and styles that look good on you, and don't go extreme. Don't do anything extreme to yourself. But another really good beauty tip, I think, is sleep. And most people, I think, are raised, especially here in America, we love to work. We love to accomplish things. We love to get a lot done in a day. We'll make a list and we'll try to do all that. And especially if anybody is earning money, it's great motivation. And so we want to work and we want to use all the hours we can. We don't want to waste hours sleeping, do we? In fact, I heard Mr. S's grandmother, or was it was aunt, and no, it was his grandmother, and she called her husband Sonny. I guess that was his nickname from way back on the farm in Kansas, and she called him Sonny, and they were farmers, and he came in from work for his lunch break, and she said, Sonny, while you're resting, could you get up on the roof and fix that leak? And so we have a joke in our family that while you're resting between the hours of midnight and 6, could you build me a new roof or a new room or something? And that's just a joke between us. And I would call him Sonny because his grandmother called her husband Sonny. And I think it was a nickname that he had, and other people called him that too. Now, energy is also something that we all deal with. If you are a night person and you have to get up early, you will drag all day. Now, I wasn't sure what was going on with me. When I was younger, getting up at a normal hour, I just drag all day long. I just couldn't seem to feel energetic about anything, and I couldn't get anything done. I ended up sitting in a chair and just slumping because I just couldn't get the energy. And what I discovered was I really didn't function very well real early in the morning. I couldn't get up at 6 and 7 like some of these people and just go with this boundless energy. It didn't work for me. So I slept a little later, and if I feel like I'm going to be dragging all day, I will not jump up first thing in the morning. The other thing that rest will do for you is reduce the look of tiredness and wrinkles on your face. Now, you may think when you're young, you could just burn the candle at both ends. I mean, you look good now, but that will catch up to you someday. And the other things I would say to avoid are smoking and drinking. I think that also contributes to the aging. And as you can see, if you look at a woman, her hands and her neck are the telltale signs of how old she really is. And but sleep and really good rest is so important. And some of you that don't have anybody around and you don't need to just jump out of bed and do something for someone, you could sleep a little bit later maybe, if it helps. If you feel, I have noticed if I feel fully rested, if I have slept until I don't feel like sleeping anymore, until my body says you have to get up, until my body does not want to lay there anymore, that I have boundless energy all day, and my skin settles down more. I have a terrible skin problem, but my skin is settled down. It's smooth. It's not all broken out and giving me fits, and I feel younger. I feel youthful. I feel energetic and optimistic. So if I get up in the morning and for some reason I had to get up and maybe use the bathroom and it's early and I'm thinking, oh, I might as well stay up. If I feel drugged and dragged down, and I'll know that I'm just going to drag around all day and feel heavy and feel unrested and just feel exhausted, I will go back to bed and sleep a little bit longer till my body does not want to lay there anymore. So I don't know what kind of explanation that is, and that's not expert advice. That's what I do. And maybe you can figure out what you can do. I will give some more beauty tips at another time. And I suppose you're thinking of hair, complexion, that sort of thing. And but I think it helps if you wear the right colors too. If you wear colors that make you feel and look more beautiful, and you know when you look in the mirror what looks good on you and what makes you feel discouraged, what makes you feel a little more tired or look a little more tired. If you'll find your colors, that helps too. So beauty tips. And seek for cleanliness and comfort. Those were the two things I told you. In an appearance, it brings peace of mind, and it shows respect to others and to your Creator. And put spiritual values in your home. Well, of course, we're out doing the groceries. How can that be a spiritual experience or a spiritual value? Because when you're out there and you're selecting the products that you need to bring home to prepare meals for your family or other products, for your home, you're thinking of the good of your family. You're thinking what your family needs, what you need, what they all would respond to. And so when I'm talking about food, I'm saying we try to feed our family members food that they like. We try not to force a bad experience on someone at mealtime by forcing them to eat things they don't really like. And eventually your tastes mature and you start liking things that you didn't like. Like I never really liked avocado when I was younger. Well, now I'm crazy about it. Your taste buds will change. They'll mature. The children will do that too. And there's some things that children just gag at, and you wonder why, because you like it. Well, their taste buds are real sensitive. So there are some things that they won't like. And so that's why I say when you are grocery shopping, it's kind of a spiritual exercise because you're trying to do good to others. That's a spiritual thing, isn't it? And you're trying to do your duty before God to take care of your family. So when you're shifting things around and you're sweeping or you're grocery shopping and you get tired of all this things, we're moving things around again. We're bringing things home. We're cooking things. You just think of it as a tool. You think of them as tools to use to serve your family and to please God. And He has put us in a material world for that reason. And He blesses us with material things because we're using them in the service of our King. And so if you could look at it in a spiritual sense, it's a ministry. Home is a ministry, and homemaking is a ministry. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about children. I've only spoken for half an hour here. We are going to get into some of the, and I was very happy to hear that not all of you scroll forward to the people part, which is the most interesting and intriguing, and that some of you actually listen to the homemaking part and the appearance part. I'm going to have another sip of tea. And here is a question. What am I supposed to be doing if I decide to be home, to be a homemaker? What am I supposed to be doing all day long? Okay, here's the answer to that. Stay home for a day, and you will find out your work is laid out for you automatically just by your presence, just by you being there. You're going to have to get up in the morning. You're going to have to get dressed. You're going to have to make that bed. You're going to have to do a load of laundry because of the clothes you wore the day before. You're going to have to maybe press or iron some things for your husband to wear to work if he does require that. And you're going to have to, just by being alive and living in a home, naturally a home is going to accumulate dirt on the floor, dust on the floor, and you're going to have to sweep. Naturally, you're going to get some meals prepared. You're going to have to do all the chopping and cutting and sauteing and all the things that you do to make that a delicious meal. And hopefully that's what you do, is you cut things up from fresh products because it's better for you and doesn't have so many additives in it. And you use things as close to nature as possible, and you learn to cook them and prepare them. And then, of course, you're going to have to clean up those dishes that you got dirty when you were preparing and cooking. And then you're going to have to clean up all the ones you ate out of. You're going to have to, even when you use the dishwasher, if you care and you have a spiritual nature, you're going to pick the glassware up out of the dishwasher and look at it next up to the light because it doesn't always get it clean. You don't want to serve your family. You don't want to serve anybody in a goblet or a glassware that has any kind of crud still on it, and that happens. You're going to just be careful about everything. And so that's what you're going to be doing all day. Even if it were just you, you're going to be cleaning up after yourself, I hope. And you'll be you know, brushing your teeth, cleaning out the sink afterwards. There is enough to keep you busy all day. And then add to that some interest that you have, such as sewing. That's a big job too. You'll be cleaning up after that, and you can have do what you want to do. And I remember an old book that I read many years ago called The Bostonians. Now, I wouldn't say that that's a very nice Christian book to read. It is about the effect of the early 1900s, late 1800s women's lib on the life of some of the men who remained gentlemen. And this one man fell in love with a girl who said, you would want me to stay home with you and take care of the house. She said, what will I do? And he said, you can do whatever you want. And in a way, that's true. You know, you can pursue whatever interests that you have. And eventually, it's interesting to clean house. It becomes an interest to make your home to pursue cleanliness and comfort. And so we're dealing with the home, and we're dealing with your work, and we're dealing with it in a spiritual way. It can all be spiritual. So the if you hired a maid, now that's material, because the maid can only do so much, because her heart won't be in it. She'll be just sweeping. It will be mechanical. She'll be just cleaning. It will be very mechanical. But when you sweep and clean, you're looking at details. You're looking at corners. You're finding your child's favorite toy, and you're picking it up, and you're rescuing it, and you are thinking of things that you need to do to make the house a little more comfortable and safer and more beautiful for your children. You will see details that a maid will not see, because they don't understand you and your personality and your needs. Now, I am losing the light here pretty quickly. We've had a very dark, foggy day. It is daylight, but it's very dark out there. Now, I hope you're getting some things done. Please leave me a list of everything that you have done, because it helps other people to see what you can do. And it's for these people that say, what am I supposed to be doing all day? This helps a lot. And depending on your age and stage of life, and whether your children are growing up or older or gone, will depend on how your housework shifts from one interest to another, or one aspect to another. There are things that you will do more of when your children are home, and there are other things that you will be doing, because when you get older, as I can attest, you now have archives. You now have time to go through those old boxes of things that you kind of shoved aside because you wanted to do the most urgent work and were not able to do them. So I want to get into dealing with the no hope people. Have you been around them? Do they just knock you over? These people that have no hope. And you maybe want to share something with a friend or a relative, and they ask you what you've been doing, and you're saying, well, I'm working on such and such, and I'm hoping to turn that room into something else, like an office. And they'll say, I don't think that'll work. Nope, that won't work. And you'll say, well, I think I can do it. No, I don't see anything in that. And they will go on and on and on, and every angle. They'll catch you at every angle and give you no hope. They're the no hope people. And I love to say to them, you know you're right. There is no hope. We shouldn't do anything. Why don't we just lay around here, not take out the trash, not clean up a room, not turn it into an office, let's not do anything. Let's just sit here and wait for the second coming. And you just kind of stare at them you can do anything, you can say anything you want that is even slightly insulting to some of these no-hope people. Of course, this is only after you've tried to give them hope. That's another thing I've noticed. It's quite futile to give a no-hope person hope, unless it's your own child and you are molding their thinking and helping them to think properly because you're their authority. But it's different when it's somebody else. But these no-hope people, if they will catch you at every angle, they know why something can't be done. But we don't put up with them here in the United States of America. They just have to go off into their own little dark world, because if they're not going to improve their lives, or at least not thwart you from improving yours, then they're not really fellowshipped very much, and the poor things, they get quite lonely. And I have noticed changes in people once someone decides not to let them wear them down and make them hopeless too. These people eventually come around and know better. If they want to be part of the conversation, they know better than to exert that no hope stuff. And so when you are with a no hope person, you have to really be careful, because they're the same as the critic. They're the same as the naysayer, the person that I'm trying to think of the other type. They're all the same. The ones that the contradictory person is the same as the critic, is the same as the no hope person. They're all the same. You can teach your children against it when they're young, though, because they don't have to talk like that. Don't allow the critics to prevent you from letting your light shine. Now, I talked last time about a woman in the Victorian times who painted beautiful paintings, but she didn't show anybody because someone in their family was quite threatening and would have thrown them away or ridiculed her, so she just painted for her own pleasure, and they found it all later in the house. Well, you don't have to allow the no hope person, the critic, the contradictory person to keep you from letting your light shine. You don't have to allow them to put your light out. You do have to be a little cautious around them, because they're also quite jealous people. They don't like it if someone is making some progress in their life. They don't like it if someone's happy. They're almost disappointed that they can't make you unhappy with their comments. And I heard somebody say the other day, you can say anything you want to these no hope people, to these critics, as long as you're smiling. You can even halfway tell them the truth and insult them, and they won't know it because you're smiling. But it will make you feel pretty good, and that is to say to them, well, I've heard comments like that from people like you before, and I just smile and say, I am going to keep on doing what I do, and if you've got a better plan, you let me know, would you? Because they don't normally have a better plan. And I can tell you some stories. I remember in the olden days when the homemaker, you think that this is a new thing where the homemaker is being run down, attacked, and discouraged. That's not true. It's been going on for a long time. But I remember back in the 50s when a woman felt that someone was being critical, she would just excuse herself and go to another room where there was a mirror, and she would pat her hair, fix her hair, or straighten her clothes out or something, and just come back out kind of like she was revived. And somehow that gave her confidence. And also she would say, what Fanny always said was tea. It's always a great cover to offer someone tea right in the middle of one of their contradictory tirades. And when anyone gets contradictory around me, where they're objecting to everything that I say, I pause for a little bit, I smile and say, would you like some tea? Let's have some tea. And it gives them a chance to compose themselves. Now, I don't know what else I would like to, I'm sure after I'm gone from this video today, I'm sure after I'm gone I'll think of like 100 things that I should have said to you about this, but I want to talk a little bit more about the naysayer and the one that delights in making you unhappy. And you will notice, I think, the ones that want to derail you and make you unhappy because there are some people that are quite jealous that a woman will stay home, and they want to make you unhappy somehow by telling you something horrifically hard that someone else is going through, so that you will lose your countenance and be distressed over it. And if you acknowledge, somebody's sorrow, and you're very empathetic, but then you brighten up and you go about your work, they're still very unhappy. They want to make you unhappy. And like I say, a smile can help a lot, because people that are critics, people that are contradictory, and people that are no-hopers, the smile is like a weapon against it. It just kind of melts them down, and it kind of puts them off. So I wanted to tell you about that. And I'm not to suggest that you smile at someone that you feel is dangerously volatile and will lose their temper if you smile at them. But this is really, really important. And so, anyway, ladies, my phone is ringing and I must answer. So I will talk to you later and I'll see you next time. Please leave me a comment. Bye.